Do 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 do
All right.
do 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 do
What are you up to?
do. I don't know. I'm just in that kind of mood tonight.
All right. You've been eating Skittles again, aye?
It's a Ritalin I need.
Yeah, that's what can I say?
It was a 4-1 win away to Hibs against the Premiership. No, it wasn't. 15, fuck's sake, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And the stadium erupts in red, white and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go.
Manchester, brace yourself.
Rangers are coming!
Hi everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the I Ready podcast. As ever, I'm your host Derek, and with me is my co-host Dave. How you doing, Dave?
I'm very well, Derek. But we've got a lot to talk about. 2 excellent games, and I'm sure you've got many other things to discuss on the pod tonight.
Oh, I wonder what that could be, Dave.
Exactly, I wonder what.
Yeah. I mean, we must have shut the bed as well. That's 2 podcasts in a week, you know.
That's right, mate. Aye, that's it. You can't say that we're not firing out the content.
Yes, well, hopefully that's all we're firing out tonight.
I see, trust you, eh?
I don't know what that's meant to mean, to be honest.
We'll leave it to the imagination, Derek.
Yes, we will. So, yes, we've got 2 games to cover. A great win against Hibs, and I wouldn't say it was a great win against Raith Rovers. It was perfunctory. It was got the job done, but we'll get into that anyway.
Yeah.
So, we will go down the tunnel and onto the park. So the first game we've got to cover, as I said, is on Wednesday the 8th of March. It was a 4-1 win away against Hibs in the Premiership. Great game, Dave, wasn't it?
Fantastic, Derek, and arguably, would you say the best performance under Michael Beale's reign?
I would still say the Hearts game just takes a lot to beat, because we obviously did concede a goal, and we obviously will get into that. But I would say Hearts. But it's interesting that the 2 Edinburgh teams away have been the best performances this season so far.
It definitely is, Derek, and especially Easter Road, which usually, you know, we always have a tough time there. But as you're about to get into, a fine performance.
Yes, so it was an unchanged starting 11 from the Kilmarnock game. Obviously, we beat them in the previous game there. Good to get a bit of continuity, because I don't think we've managed to do that this year.
No, we haven't, Derek. And, you know, everyone's saying arguably at this moment in time, with fit players, probably about our strongest starting 11, maybe.
Quite possibly, yeah. So we lined up McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Davis, Barisic, Raskin, Jack, Cantwell, Sakala, Ken and Cholak. On the subs bench we have McLaughlin, Lundstrom, Hadji, Kamara, Morelos, Wright, Matondo, Arfield and Devine. So interesting, Matondo on the bench.
Yeah, that's right. That's his first sort of appearance. I'd kind of forgotten that we had him on our books, Derek.
Pretty much, aye. However, the first half, it started off at a frantic pace, going end to end. Hibs getting the early chances. Right on the 3rd minute as well, they had a great ball down the left into our box, a cross into the middle, 3 unmarked attackers. However, they couldn't control it in a shot wide. That was early signs that we were going to be up against it, we thought, but it was just shocking marking again.
It was just really bad, Derek. I was expecting the ball to end up in the back of the net at that stage, because again, we could all see it happening, but thankfully the Hibs players weren't up to the task, and you know, the ball managed to sail past. But an early fright.
Well, we certainly weren't as lucky as letting the ball sail past a few minutes later, because in the 8th minute, Hibs made it 1-0. It was a long free kick into the back post, nobody picking up the attacker, who crosses into the middle, and Goldson taps it into your net. Can you really blame Goldson? In fairness, it was either going to him or the attacker who was going to knock it in, but just shocking marking all round, especially from that first play where it went right to the back post.
And again, Derek, we've said it time and time again, we don't seem to heed the warnings, do we? We get off, you know, with a really poor mark in 1 minute, and then concede an identical goal just seconds or minutes later. That's the annoying thing.
We've seen it all season. That's what's crazy about it. However, on the 10th minute, Kent was brought down in the box and nothing was given. Clearly, Kent was taken out. He got Kent's trailing leg. The play was eventually stopped. A lengthy VAR check. He goes to the screen. Penalty given.
Yeah.
Now, I'm glad VAR done the job there, but for the referee, who was in clear sight of it, not to give that in the first place is nothing short of atrocious. As I said in the post-match, is it a case now that referees are a bit second-guessing themselves and they're just letting VAR pick it up because they know there's that get-out clause there?
Derek, Ryan Kent was turned into Stretch Armstrong when he made that tackle. His leg was so far pulled back. It was as blatant as you could possibly see. The referee was close by. I don't know what the hell he was thinking in the first instance not to immediately say it was a penalty. Thankfully, VAR picked it up and we got the penalty. If that had been last season or the season before, it would have been another blatant one that we didn't get. But thankfully, we did get it.
Yes, and on the 12th minute, up steps Tavernier and made it 1 each. It was into the left side. The keeper dived the right way again, but just like the Kilmarnock penalty scored in the last game, just too accurate.
Yeah, definitely. It was a well-taken penalty, Derek, and just glad to be back all level early on in the game.
Yes. From there, we started to be more in charge. Lots of shots, but little on target, unfortunately. And then we managed to get a second goal on the 34th minute with Čolak scoring. Raskin robs the defender at the halfway line. It falls to Kent, who plays a quick ball down the left side to Sakala, who takes it forward, looks up, crosses in, and Čolak flicks it in at close range. It was a great wee flick as well, but just great from Raskin initially to see that ball and manage to rob the defender.
It was great play all round, Derek, to the ball out and then the final ball in. And then Čolak, he was behind the two defenders, but sensing where the ball was going to go, nips in between, gets ahead of the first defender and manages to flick the ball in. A real poacher's instinct there to get the ball past the keeper, and excellent to be up 2-1 at that stage.
Yes, we kept on pressing on, and I don't think there was much else that happened in the half, but we were by far on top. Cantwell and Sakala getting into absolutely everything. Really, really good to see there, and a great half other than the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, it was, Derek. We were absolutely all over them at that point. Just the whole of the first half. I'm glad that you mentioned Fashion Sakala, because Hibs just couldn't get anywhere near him. Strange to see the formation that we were playing as well, Derek, where Fashion Sakala was on the left-hand side, Čolak was playing just to the right, and Ryan Kent was playing in the centre. Hibs had absolutely no reply to them whatsoever, those front three. They were outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely. So into the second half, looking for more of the same, and we got it in spades. Yeah. A fantastic and relentless second half performance. We never let up. We got the 2 goals. We're still looking for more. And that is one of the things that we've been guilty of this season. Is when we've went a goal up, we've never really been looking for the second goal. Yeah, we've pressed on, we've tried to there, but we've never actually went all guns blazing like we did in this game, and in the obviously the Hearts game as well. And we really pinned Hibs into their own 18-yard box, and that was really the case of the whole half. We got an early goal on the second half on the 52nd minute, and it was Sakala that scored. Sakala puts the defender under pressure in the box, forcing him to pass back to the keeper, who panicked, hits a first-time clearance, but only right to Ryan Jack, who heads it straight back to Sakala in the box, controls it, who had back to goal, spins and shoots it past the keeper. That was sublime from Sakala there, because I thought he had taken the wrong decision to turn the way he did. He should have just taken it first time and the other way, but no, Sakala was outstanding there, and this is what you get from him. You maybe get about 10 duff chances, and then you get a one piece of magic like this.
It was Michael Malls-esque, that term, Derek. That's all I've got to say. We've not really seen Sakala do anything like that before, but he'd made his mind up what he was going to do. He was going to hit it with his left foot. The way that his body was, he couldn't get a swing at it, but just the flowing movement of him turning round, the control was absolutely sublime, and what a tremendous finish by him. An absolutely fantastic goal by him, Derek. Really, really good, and a great time for us to get the third.
Yeah, and I think you've got to remember, he was the one that ultimately started that by putting the keeper under pressure in the first place.
Yep.
So, but then, 6 minutes later, we got our final goal of the game. On the 58th minute, Čolak made it 4-1. It was a long ball from the right to the back post, headed down by Tavernier to Sakala, who passes to Kent, who passes to Sakala, who passes to Čolak, who shoots and deflected into the back of net. Slightly fortuitous. I don't care though, they go in anyway, but ultimately a great all-round goal, and once again Sakala in the middle of it.
Derek, and it was all in the Hibs box as well. That's the thing, getting the ball. Hibs couldn't get near us. The ball ended up at Čolak. Now, Derek, he went for the shot. He went for that area. So, regardless, I just think that the deflection maybe took the sting off the shot, because I do think that's where the ball was going to be ending up anyway. So, absolutely fantastic play and, a great instinctive finish by Čolak. What a fantastic performance, Derek.
Yes. 61st minute, he nearly scored again from a deflection because the ball was crossed in the middle from the left. Čolak in space, acres of space actually. It was kind of on par with our defending. He hit a shot and it was deflected out for the corner. Really unlucky that it was hit with pace. Yeah. And it was goal bound if the deflection never happened there. So unlucky that there. We did have the ball in the back of the net 2 minutes later on the 63rd minute. Sakala this time again. Some great play down the right, cross in from Tavernier, and a volley from close range by Sakala. But Tavernier in that move had just strayed offside. Really unlucky from Sakala. Yeah. He's got a habit of scoring absolutely worldies when other people are offside.
I know, Derek, it was a great fit. It was a great move as well. But looking back, he did see that Tavernier was just offside there. So correct decision. We'll take it.
Yes. 72nd minute, Hibs' only real chance of the game, I think. They tried to chip McGregor from the edge of the box, but it went wide. 77th minute, a quintuple substitution. Never seen that before in my puff, Dave.
No, it's he's getting. I mean, I'll be talking about it in the next game as well. I think maybe a triple substitution, but like you said, it's especially in a league game, Derek, for that to happen. But it shows you that we were absolutely cruising at that stage.
Kent, Čolak, Cantwell, Sakala, and Raskinov, Morelos, Lundstrom, Arfield, Wright, and Hadji on. It was bad enough for me to write down. I think the RTV guys had a big handful as well. 82nd minute, Hadji with a shot from 20 yards. It was on target, made the keeper make a comfortable dive and save, and that was what rounded out the game. So, relentless performance, as I said. Delighted with that, and 3 points and up the road.
Absolutely brilliant, Derek. We would have taken a dodgy 1-0, but the whole performance was fantastic. I read a lot of reports, and that's why I asked you at the start, Derek, is it arguably our best performance? Because a lot of people said after I was reading the game that they thought that was the case. But, regardless, that's, two fantastic performances that we've had in Edinburgh, in a short space of each other. And again, it just really annoys me to think that this new midfield that he's put in with Raskin and Cantwell and, whoever, Jack, who was absolutely outstanding. I have to say, I thought Ryan Jack was immense. But whether it's him or whether it's Lundstrom, whoever, that team really should have played against Celtic, and it still annoys me, the fact that it didn't, Derek, but we need to let it go. But no, tremendous performance, Derek. Really, really pleased with that.
Yes. So the next game we've got to cover is Sunday the 12th of March. It was a 3-0 win at home to Raith Rovers in the Scottish Cup quarter-final. Dave, you managed to watch this one live. Yep. I've since watched it back. I'll let you take the reins on this one.
Certainly did, Derek. It was a pretty similar team that Michael Beale put out. I mean, I think a lot of people maybe expected Hadji, maybe Suter to play from the start in this game, but he didn't. He only really made one change from that last game, and that was to bring in John Lundstrom for Ryan Jacks. The team he put out was McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Davies, Barisic, Lundstrom, Raskin, Cantwell, Fashion Jr., Kent and Čolak on the bench. McLaughlin, Rudvan, Hadji, Jack, Suter, Kamara, Morelos, Wright and Arfield. So Derek, straight away, looking at that substitutes bench, that's what we're looking for now. That's the sort of strength that we're looking for. Players coming back from injury, very, very strong bench there for us. So as the game started off, Derek, I think we were expecting Rangers to, get into their stride straight away, but it was actually Raith Rovers who had the first real chance, and the guy was really unlucky. It was away in the second minute. Raith managed to pick the ball up just inside their own half, and the big Raith Rovers striker saw that Alan McGregor was way off his line and thought that he would try and do a Kamar Roof and chip him for the halfway line. Thankfully for us, Derek, it was past the post, but it was certainly at the right height and it wasn't too far away. So, you've got to say the guy was unlucky there and a bit of a let-off for us early on in the game. But Rangers started to get a foothold in the match, and the first real chance that we had was on the 10th minute when James Tavernier latches onto a ball inside the box and he thunders a close-range shot straight at the goalkeeper, but he hit it with some venom, and it was a great save by the Raith goalkeeper to put it out. 3 minutes later, a corner for Rangers. Borna Barisic on the left flicks the ball into the box, and Connor Goldson with a powerful header, but again, straight at the Raith goalkeeper, who managed to palm the ball, and the defender cleared it away. So really unlucky there that we didn't manage to score. And in the 19th minute, I've said his name a lot. I'll say his name a lot in this game, but Barisic again on the left. He crosses the ball to Antonio Cholak. The keeper manages to punch it away just in front of Cholak, but it was a phenomenal cross. I thought that Cholak had got the head to it. There was a wee VAR check for a possible foul on Fashion Sakala as well, but nothing given, and Raith survived that one again. But after that, it was a wee bit messy, I've got to say, Derek, wasn't it? It was quite a lot of really hard fouls going in that were going unpunished by the referee, which I thought I should highlight, especially on Todd Cantwell. There was a lot of fouls on him, hard ones. I thought the referee should have been bringing back and at least speaking to the midfielders that were making the tackles, but nothing. Ryan Kent also got chopped in half as well, and the referee just kept running also. So really disappointed there, but a pretty uneventful next sort of 20 minutes. Plenty of possession for Rangers, but no real chances. But thankfully, on the 41st minute, Rangers got the goal, and it was a corner again from Borna Barisic. And I mentioned it just a minute ago. He almost scored, but he did it this time. Connor Goldson with a bullet header, fantastic, sending the ball into the back of the net and past the goalkeeper. Derek?
Beautiful header. It's what we've been wanting all this time from our set pieces. It's been few and far between this year, but thankfully got it this time.
Yep, fantastic. And that's how the first half ended, Derek. So plenty of possession, not that many chances, but certainly we were we were really comfortable going in 1-0 at half time. Pretty happy with that. We knew that Raith would put up a hard first half for us, but just glad to be going in 1-0 at half time. So into the second half, Rangers again trying to end the game quickly, and we came out the traps very quickly. 55th minute, another corner from Borna Barisic lands at the feet of James Tavernier in the box. He shoots, bit of a strange one, hits the defender, and it deflects off the defender onto the post and then out for a corner. A bit bizarre there. And then just 2 minutes after that, we got the second goal, which really saw the game off for us, let's be perfectly honest. And it was a very, very fortuitous. James Tavernier on the right-hand side, on the wing, puts in half decent cross, Derek, not really to anyone. Thankfully, though, the Raith defender, he tried to slice the ball away, made a complete backside of it, and the ball ended up past his own goalkeeper into the back of the net, and that made it 2-0.
I'll take it any which way it comes. I don't care. I've always said that.
Exactly. And then the substitution started after that. 66th minute, Sakala, Barisic and Goldson all off. Arfield, Suter and Ridvan on. So fantastic to see Ridvan and Suter back in the team, getting some game time there, still with about 25 minutes to go. But then on the 69th minute, one of the actual best pieces of play of the game, unfortunately it wasn't for Rangers, it was actually for Raith. It was fantastic link-up play. I'll give them their dues, Derek, on the left-hand side, involving three of their players, all one-touch football, and it ended up with their player being played through 1-on-1 with Alan McGregor. Hits the shot, McGregor manages to palm the ball away. Thankfully, it fell to James Tavernier, who was able to clear the ball away from danger. Still 2-0 to Rangers at that point. And then, but a minute after that, as soon as we got it cleared, the ball fell to Ridvan, and it's the first time that we really saw anything from him. Racing down the left wing, he put in a fantastic low cross to Scott Arfield, who shoots. A fantastic save by the goalkeeper. Really unlucky there to keep it 2-0. And then on the 78th minute, another two subs made. Kent and Cholak, who the both of them had very quiet games. Derek, I don't know if you noticed that. I think we were expecting something from the two of them, considering how well they played against Hibs, but not really much for Cholak to feed off at all. And Kent, very quiet. Alfredo Morelos and Aeneas Hadji on. And then to put the icing on the cake, at the 88th minute, we got the third goal, and it was probably the best move of the game from Rangers. Aeneas Hadji on the ball on the right-hand side. He sees Cantwell inside the box. There's a couple of Raith players next to him, but he plays a phenomenal through ball to Todd Cantwell. Cantwell sort of skips to get on his left foot, thinking that he's going to have a shot, but unselfishly, he just passes the ball to the left-hand side to a completely unmarked Scott Arfield, who just slots the ball past the goalkeeper. Fantastic play by Rangers all round, and that sealed the game for us. Derek, excellent goal.
Yes, just great vision and great work all round.
Yep, and the only chance after that, right at the end of the game, 91st minute, and it was a chance for Raskin inside the box. He had a close range shot at the near post, but another excellent save by the Raith goalkeeper. But that is how the game finished, Derek. 3-0. Can't say it was a phenomenal performance, but it's exactly what we were looking for. It was a cup game. We were looking to get out of that game comfortably, which we did. No injuries picked up and safely through to the semi-finals. What did you make of that?
I just think sometimes that people, when they see, we get a lower division team, you see people making predictions 5, 6, 7, 8-0, whatever, and it's never going to be the case, and it never normally works out that way because it's ultimately their cup final. They're going to be trying their heart out for it, and generally they know that they can't go toe-to-toe with us because they'll get absolutely obliterated. They know they play the low block, it's going to make life very difficult for us. So there has to be a bit of patience with us in terms of the fan base. I think to get out there with a 3-0 victory, a clean sheet, go through to the next round, that's all you can ask for. A cup tie is win by any means necessary. If it is an ugly win, it's an ugly win. This wasn't really an ugly win. We were fully in control, bar those two moments. It was a great piece of skill in the second half as well, and it just shows you, if they tried that a wee bit more, they might have got something out of the game. But I'm just delighted to get through to the next round.
Yeah, I think the only talking point I've got from it, Derek, and I mentioned his name loads of times there, and I've actually thought he had an excellent game, is Borna Barisic. He put in a number of really good crosses into the box, and again, it's just frustrating that we're not getting enough people getting on the end of these crosses that we put in, because that's the style of play that we are. That we're used to pushing the fullbacks on to try and get a decent ball into the box, but just a bit frustrating that we don't have anybody else in there. I realise that Cholak was playing up front on his own, but there doesn't seem to be anybody just getting in behind him just to try and feed off any knockdowns or trying to get the second run in to get on the end of these crosses. It's maybe something that they are needing to work on.
Quite possibly, but that's nothing new, is it?
Yep.
So into the next round. And lo and behold, who did we get drawn against on the Monday? Celtic in the semi-final. Yep. I did put out a tweet. I've got a better record against them in the semi-finals than finals of late. So is it a bad thing? Probably not.
Derek, we were going to have to face them at some point. As you say, semi-finals, I think not even recently, but going over the years, we've had a good record against them over the years, and I just hope and pray that he puts their strongest team out against them this time. Don't think about matching them or trying to stop them play, but actually putting a team out so that we can go out and play. So I really hope that Michael Beale's learnt his lesson there, and it's the strongest Rangers team that he puts out, a Rangers team that's going to go out and win and play to our strengths rather than their strengths.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5.5, 6 weeks away, so we'll potentially have maybe a wee bit more back in terms of injuries if there's anybody still out there to strengthen the bench. The Raskin and Cantwell will have had another 6 weeks worth of play together, so I'm hopeful. If we, as you said, if we play to our strengths, I think we can beat them, but we shouldn't be feared of them, and that's the big thing. We shouldn't outthink, try and be smart about things. Play to our strengths, exactly, and we can overcome them.
Exactly.
So that leaves us in the table. Played 28, won 22, drawn 4, lost 2, scored 68, conceded 25, goal difference plus 43 and on 70 points. Still 9 behind Celtic. Clawed back 1 goal over them, but it's only still a 27 goal difference adrift from them. So that's that, isn't it?
I know.
However, we go into the next game, Saturday the 18th of March, away against Motherwell in the Premiership. That's a 12:30 kickoff. Saturday the 1st of April, at home against Dundee United in the Premiership. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. Saturday the 8th of April, that's away against Celtic in the Premiership. That's a 12:30 kickoff. Saturday the 15th of April, at home against St Mirren in the Premiership. That's a 1500 kickoff. Then it's Saturday the 22nd of April, away against Aberdeen in the Premiership. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. And then the big one, Saturday the 29th or Sunday the 30th of April at Hampden against Celtic in the semi-final. All looks pointing towards a Sunday kickoff, doesn't it, unfortunately, which is going to be a pain in the arse because the Inverness game the day before will have cut up the park, no doubt.
Probably. Derek, I'm being totally selfish here. I'm working on the Saturday, I'm off on the Sunday, so for a purely selfish reasons, I'm hoping it's a Sunday.
Well, it's all about you, Dave, isn't it?
It certainly is. I'm glad we agree on that, Derek.
Yes, so a massive run of games. You know, you've got to think that if we can get through the Motherwell Dundee United game, if we can win against the Celtic game, that might put a bit of a psychological advantage against them. However, it might backfire as well at the same time. If you think that if we go out and win against Celtic that way, they know they've got to win the next game. So it could work either way, that one, couldn't it?
It usually, going again by history, Derek, and games, usually it's the team that usually goes out and wins the both games here. You know, that's usually how it ends up. So we just have to hope for a good performance at Parkhead, and then, you know, treat the final completely different. Who knows what players, just like what you said, that we're going to have back, and again, just have to hope that we play to our strengths.
Absolutely. So we'll go into the news. So a few bits and pieces to cover, and it's all going to be really fan-based, isn't it, this time, Dave? Yeah. So before the Hibs game, there was issues with our fans entering the stadium. Extended searches were happening by stewards and the police, resulting in some missing the start of the game, as well as police horses being deployed with resulting crushing, which is just, it's abysmal. Not the first time this season that our away fans have been treated this way. It's 2023. Fans shouldn't be having to face this. Safety is paramount, but it seems the authorities have created an unsafe environment in this case. Once again, another example of football fans being treated completely differently, because you don't see these same searches happening at the rugby at Murrayfield at the weekend, do you?
Definitely don't, no.
I mean, it leads to the reluctance of the footballing authorities, the police, the government, to discuss things like safe flares, which came up again with the Union Bears lighting flares at the game and certain pyros. And really, the easing of draconian restrictions placed on football fans, such as alcohol bans. We've been through this time and time again, and understand the reasons for not wanting to alleviate these type of issues, because it might cause other issues. But if you don't try it, you've tried everything else, it's not worked. People are still drinking, people are still taking flares into stadiums. Let's try and accommodate fans and actually treat them like human beings. Rangers haven't been very vocal on this, I believe, that the whole issue's outside the stadium, but apparently there was communication about if you had issues outside the stadium, email the SLO and they'll look into it, because they're going to compile something to send to Hibs and the authorities as well. Rangers, this is part of their issue as well. They need to be on the front foot and be more vocal about this. If it wasn't for another podcast, I would have never known that Rangers were doing this.
Yeah, that's true, Derek. Yep, 100%.
So that's something that needs to be looked into.
Yep.
Next thing here, I did mention the Union Bears. Now, this is going to cause a lot of issues here, because they ended up boycotting the Raith game because they weren't allowed to take their banner in. Now, they released a statement when the game was going on, I believe. Union Bears had planned to display various legitimate message banners at today's match highlighting different issues surrounding our club and support. Prior to the match, Police Scotland and Rangers FC jointly removed these materials without our knowledge and blocked access to regular matchday materials. From Rangers FC, this is a clear breakdown of trust and an attempt to silence our group's invalid concerns. As a consequence, we made the difficult decision to remove active support and not enter the ground as a group. This attempt to suppress the feelings amongst the Rangers support will not be successful and only stands to confirm the concerns that the fans hold. Union Bears, no surrender. Then Rangers, after the game, released another statement to basically counter that, saying that Rangers refused to allow an offensive banner relating to the police service to be displayed at today's match. The Union Bears elected to absent themselves from the stadium because the club would not permit these offensive anti-police banner display. And then it's later on that day, it's now transpired that the actual offensive banner, which Union Bears in their statement failed to mention, was a police officer mocked up as a pig alongside 1312, which is an alternative to the ACAB slogan. Then the Union Bears, I think the next day, put up pictures on their website, which is quite similar to the mutants in the North Curve of the Celtic fans, put up close-ups of unblanked out police officers' faces outside the ground. And they also had a picture of one of the banners they were going to fly, which was Ross Wilson, Director of Failure. So, Dave, there's a lot to kind of digest in that one there, and you're going to be on one side or the other. And to me, the Union Bears have scored a massive own goal with this one there for not being open and upfront about this in the first place. The banner that they've displayed, and they've ultimately claimed this was legitimate banner, the Ross Wilson banner, that was fine because it wasn't offensive, it wasn't personal, it was basically criticising his work. There is no issues with that whatsoever. No. And I don't think anybody would have issues with that. The whole ACAB thing, the whole police officer thing, what the fucking point is that? It is really not helping your cause whatsoever. Yes, you can be upset with the way fans groups get treated. There is an issue with that, as I've highlighted just previously with the draconian restrictions. However, when you do childish stuff like that, it really doesn't help your cause. And then, I mean, to the fact that you're putting up pictures of police officers without their face blanked out, it's quite ironic considering the Union Bears, they wear balaclavas, they blank out their faces on their pictures. I mean, this kind of petty, self-indulgent, self-entitled thing, they have a history of doing this kind of childish behaviour. What is the point? What does it get them?
Derek, the whole thing with the police, and you know, there's so much, thousands of police officers that are actually in the stands every week supporting the club. But I just think that's ridiculous to start off with. The whole thing with the police having their faces unblanked, that doesn't, I mean, you know, you see police officers getting filmed on a daily basis by people with cameras. I don't think they'll be that fussed about stuff like that. But the actual banner themselves, if that was the banner that they were going to be flying, it just really slaps in the face a lot of the supporters out there who are police officers, and there are a lot, Derek. I mean, I used to sit next to two guys that were cops, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one actually in the stands, but when I had my season ticket. So I think they need to realise that there are a lot of the fan base that are police officers, and, you know, it doesn't look good for that. I don't know what it's, you know, they think it's going to achieve either, because at the end of the day, any decisions that are made by the government for the police to act on. I just think it's really stupid that they do that. Going back to the other banner, you know, that's fine. You know, fans are allowed to protest against how the way the club is being run. I think we've all had our concerns over Ross Wilson as well, where, you know, some of the decisions that have been made, especially player recruitment. So, as you said, you know, that's fine, but bring these things in. But they're bound to know these stupid banners would get taken down, Derek. So absolutely no point in it. We go on about the Union Bears, Derek, and we've spoke about it constantly, the pros and cons. I think they're a huge boost inside the stadium on match days. I really do. But, you know, the political stuff really does my head in. Keep it about the football team. Keep it about the way, you know, that what's good and what's bad about what's happening with the team. Nothing else. Leave politics and everything completely out of it, because it really does nothing for me. And I'm sure I've heard a lot of other fans as well also saying exactly the same thing. Just keep it about the team, for God's sake.
I mean, ultimately, they've got that offensive banner taken off them. So if they're claiming that it was all about the Ross Wilson banner, well, take that at the next home game. And if it gets confiscated and you're not allowed to do it, then you know that was the banner that was causing the issue as well. Then yeah, absolutely, you've got an issue there. And I think the club have got an issue if that really is the case. So as for the cupboard as well, inside Ibrox, I mean, some were claiming that it was shocking and bang out of order that Rangers and the police went into it to take the Union Bears property. I mean, for a start, the cupboard is on Rangers property. Rangers are well within their rights to confiscate anything in there. So it's not technically Union Bears property that was in there. As you going on about Union Bears and what they can do, they do some fantastic stuff. The tifos, the noise they make as well. Yes, Ibrox can be like a morgue, but Ibrox can also be like a morgue sometimes when they're in there as well. I have to question, why do they go to games if they're going to just walk out as well, Dave? I mean, if you're not there to support the team and watch the football, are you there really just there to make a noise? Is that your raison d'etre for being there then? I don't know.
I don't know either, Derek. I know that a lot of the guys are much younger than what I am. I don't think I could go and stand and jump about and make the noise that they do constantly on during a game, like we've said, which is fantastic. But again, I also wouldn't be one for going and making any protests that weren't against the club directly. I don't think there's any need for it whatsoever in football. Like I said, I'm all for protests with regards to the way the club's being run if things aren't going right. But everything else, I think there's a time and a place for that, and it's certainly nothing to do with Ibrox, I'm afraid.
No, I just think they really need to start being careful about this, because they pretty much claim that they speak for the whole of Ibrox, and they really don't. They don't speak for everyone. They speak for a small number of people there. So they're playing a very dangerous game with that one there. And as I've said before, if they want the club to be on their side, to influence things like getting their seats moved to more central position and safe standing, they're not going about it the right way. Anyway, next thing on the agenda here is Hamza Youssef was asked if he regrets his controversial tweets about Rangers players and the doctored video made by Willy Wanker. He says he doesn't, and he justifies it by saying that in the tweet he said, if, and I stress if. So, I mean, he was Justice Minister at the time. He should know how this works. He shouldn't have said anything. And he's never, ever said anything about Celtic or their fans, despite having ample opportunity to do so. During the George Square celebrations as well, he was one of a number of MSPs to criticise the police and their apparent lack of action when it came to the celebrations, which were all in good spirits up until a certain point. He's an absolute joke of a man, a failure. I can't believe he may become the First Minister, never mind having the temerity to put himself forward to be First Minister in the first place. For the fact that he can still come out and say, yes, I believe that was the right thing to say as Justice Minister, he's an absolute farce of a man.
The man is a complete and utter buffoon, Derek. You've said it there exactly. You know that I'm not into politics, Derek. I can only go on his past record. He has been a complete and utter failure at every single position that he has done. Everything that he has touched, he has put back by years and years and years. Everything he's touched has went to shite. We've all seen the pictures of him with his Celtic hoodie on and all that. And I thought that I could maybe see past that. Going the comments that he's done, he basically tries to do everything he can to put any blame, anything at all, on to our support. And as you say, the fact that he is even in the running to be the new First Minister, God help us all. That's all I can say, because if he does manage to get in, I really, really dread to think the state that this country's going to be in, and it's already in a hell of a state, but surely if he was to go in charge, Derek, it would be a hell of a lot worse. It's not even worth thinking about at this stage. It really isn't.
And there was us saying we're only going to talk about politics as well, Dave.
Exactly. and I don't usually, Derek, but that man is clear to anybody to see as a complete and utter failure at everything he's done when he's been in the Scottish government. So I really, really fear if he was to get in power. I really do.
Yeah. Anyway, the next story here, a rather strange one. Namdi Offabor, remember him, Dave?
Yes.
And since deleted Instagram posts, he's put up a couple of pictures of him in a hospital bed, 2 years, 2 operations, hundreds of appointments. And then he's put on a separate one, silent on the situation, so I look like the bad guy. All the mistreatment over the last 2 years will come out. Now, some wild assumptions about how he was directing that, whether he was directing at the club, how our medical team were shocking, and even one post I seen that were actually saying that it's shocking if the club have went against specialist advice. I mean, as I said in our last pod, our medical issues absolutely need an inquest at the end of the season because footballing injuries have been ridiculous. But this is not a footballing issue, this one. The guy's got a heart condition. As soon as the issue was found out, specialists would have taken over. And if you think for 1 minute we have interfered with anything to do with this, anything to do with the specialist treatment of this, then I think you're letting your frustrations over our issues this season cloud your reasoning, because there is absolutely no way Rangers would have been involved in any heart operations or anything like that.
It's Derek, it's duty of care more than anything else. We saw what happened with Christian Eriksen. I would like to think the fact, that Rangers were taking all, the specialist advice, which they would have. I mean, quite rightly, you've just said there, how on earth would Rangers pass out any type of advice to someone that's got a heart condition that, could potentially kill him if he was going to play? It's absolutely incredible. It's going to be very interesting if he does come out and say what has happened over the last two years. I found it strange as well, Derek, to see the picture that he posted was him in a pair of Bournemouth shorts as well. So I don't know how old that was. That was a theory that got thrown out there, but just a complete bizarre set of events that he's put off there, and it's certainly got everybody talking. But as you say, we can't really comment until we know the full extent of what has happened. But Rangers would, just like you said, would have acted on whatever advice that they've taken from medical specialists out there. So it's a bizarre one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the only way that Rangers would have been involved, and this has happened in the past, where Rangers have referred a player to a specialist, like say for a knee injury or something like that, and the specialist is fucked up. Well, again, that's nothing to do with Rangers. If this guy is a specialist in his field, he's not just somebody we've taken off the street and said he's a specialist, is it? So, yeah. As you said, it'll be interesting to see what comes out. Now, as I said, he's deleted them. There was speculation if he was following the Rangers team and all that. So I don't know what the hell's happening there, but we'll wait and see. So another question that kind of got asked on Twitter, not directly to us, but somebody just put it out there and says, do you think that the sale of Bassey to Ajax has kept Wilson in a job? Now, I never replied to it, but it got me thinking, Dave, how about we turn it round and we say Bassey's the reason why Wilson is actually under pressure? Because who's to say Bassey wasn't going to go on to be the linchpin of our defence that prevented us losing all our goals that we've done and resulted us being 9 points behind? People are saying, yeah, it was great that he got sold for 16 million, 19 million, whatever it was. Maybe that's been our undoing, because had he stayed, we might have won the league, we might have been in the cup, we might have done a lot better in Europe, we might have got third place in Europe for all we know. It might have effectively made that money. So I don't think you can answer either question, but it's just another way of looking at things.
Certainly an interesting way to put it, Derek. Don't know, it's a very hypothetical there. I am still on the side of, I think we could be doing a lot better with the signings that we've made. I don't think it's to do with the selling of players. I think it's more to do with the player recruitment more than anything else that everybody's pissed off about, especially the signings that have came in recently. You mentioned them there, the likes of Matondo, that's been a total failure for us, and we've spent relatively a lot of money for us considering the position that we're in. So, but as you say, it's a different way of looking at it. I don't think the vast majority of the fans will see it that way. No. I think the consensus is that he has been more of a failure than a success. I certainly, like I say, I've got my concerns about him, but each to their own.
Yes. Next thing here, Robbie McCrory has been back in training. I mean, so bad as our injury issues, I didn't even know he was injured, Dave.
Neither did I, Derek, to be perfectly honest with you. Considering the goalkeeping situation for next season, we're not expecting McGregor to be there and maybe McLaughlin not to be there either. So does this mean is McCrory finally going to get his chance? I don't know, but hopefully he will stay fit and he'll be fighting for the first team for next season.
So the last piece of football news here is I've got former Rangers fans' favourite Peter Hoekstra has went from managing a team in Uzbekistan last season and he's now been appointed manager of Borneo Samadera, who sit fourth in the Indonesian top flight.
Fantastic. Well done.
He was the first player I knew of to go to Japan, so he always likes these weird and wonderful places, doesn't he?
Exactly, yep, yeah, and getting to see the world while he's there, I'm sure it'll be a lot nicer weather than it has here, Derek.
Yes, so good luck to him there.
Yes.
So, guy goes to Mexico to kill himself, spends a week doing coke and banging hookers, and he decides to keep on living. What other reason would you want to do that for?
Exactly. The end.
$2,000 spent on a trip to Mexico, a cab ride, a seedy hotel room, excessive amounts of cocaine and a hooker orgies legitimately saved a man's life. This might be the first time anyone said that. I don't know. Sounds like a start of a great film, Dave.
It certainly does, aye. It certainly does. Right enough. I don't know, Derek. Some of the films that you watch maybe go a wee bit sour for that point. So.
Amidst a battle of debilitating and depression, he travelled to Mexico to purchase chemicals to humanely end his life. The aptly named Reddit user Please Send Help shares his story involving ripping lines of coke off hookers' tits, battling whiskey coke dick with Viagra, multiple threesomes, and of course his will to finally live. So he's went on to say, went to Mexico to buy barbiturates for a humane and peaceful death. Decided that if I was going to die anyway, I might as well fuck a prostitute before it was all over. After that, the cab driver offered to sell me cocaine. One thing led to another. I got a room above a whorehouse equipped with a heart-shaped bed, a stripper pole and a hot tub. Spent a full week snorting coke off tits, popping pain meds, drinking tequila, eating handfuls of Viagra to fight off whiskey coke dick, and had 3 female-female-male threesomes. Somewhere in the midst of my coke-fueled orgy, I decided life wasn't so bad after all.
Hallelujah! Oh my God, there you go, Derek. See, a feel-good story for the end of the podcast.
Yes. So obviously not wanting to make light of obviously a guy's desperate situation there, but there is light at the end of every tunnel. So
there is, yes.
I'm not going to tell you to go to Mexico and do what he done though.
No, well, but maybe Derek, maybe that's the source of a lot of people's problems, and then that's the result at the end. You never know. Well,
I'm just worried that I'm going to do a Gary Lineker and get cancelled. So.
Do you think so? Well,
maybe.
I hope you're not expecting me to stand in solidarity with you, mate.
No, you'll be the one cancelling me.
The one thing gone on that, Derek, is how the hell can we not get Michael Stewart muted off his posting? Do you know what I mean? That'll never happen.
No, we're not that lucky.
No, definitely not.
So on that cheery note, we will end the podcast. So a very quick podcast from us this week. That's what happens. You go only a week doing a podcast.
Yeah, no, that's it. And everything covered, Derek. Hopefully we've been saying for a while that we've been trying to get the podcast out at least once a week now. So here's hoping that we can keep that going, because there is a lot of games coming up, isn't there? And I'll be going on holiday soon as well. So
right, there's a surprise, Dave. So, thanks for listening and goodbye.
Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
And the stadium erupts in red, white and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go.